Welcome to the Swim Swam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, I have got a kit and caboodle of swimmers. We have the Neuqua Valley High School swim team. Joining us today is Coach Neferotis and swimmers Elaine Carroll, Jane Reese, Megan Cizak, McKenna Stone, a very modest 7 guests today. We're going to get to hear a little bit from everyone. I'm going to start with a little bit of background today. The Neuqua Valley High School, these girls swam a 3:20 in the 400-yard freelay in a virtual dual meet. That's averaging 50 points. That is very fast. They went on. The Illinois State meet was canceled due to COVID complications, and they went on to have a sensational sectional meet. We reported on it on swimswam.com. And we are here sitting down with a big group of them today to talk about what training has been like for them over the last few months and how racing was. So I'm going to start with Coach Jason, and then we'll just kind of go around the room. Jason, tell me what conditions were like from the beginning of lockdown for y'all up until this point.
Yeah, lockdown was like anybody else expected. Pools were not open, whether they were high school related, private facility rated. So, and more importantly, that was just where everybody was at mentally and emotionally. And we may have been physically locked out of the buildings, but worse than that was like, what's going on right now? How long is this going to last? And just dealing with just so much up in the air is just really, really difficult. Things started to open back up a little bit when the summer hit, and we got to see some outdoor facilities open, which was really key. And so trying to get into some facilities was more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be, because I figured it was outside and people would be opening their pools to get these athletes in, and a lot of the outdoor pools were staying shut to outside visitors or guests. And so we had to get really creative with how we trained. So, we did, like every other swimmer, a lot of online dry land stuff on our own, and then got in the pool in this summer. Things got a little bit better, but, a lot of it was on our own. Weird hours.
Yeah, so it sounds like you guys, you experienced the full quarantine experience. You had ups, downs, weird hours, like you mentioned. Let's try to get 60 to 90 seconds for each athlete here of what was what was something during this quarantine training you liked? What was something you was a downer for you didn't like? Give me 60 to 90 seconds on just kind of your take over these last few months, what you guys have been doing in and out of the pool. Jane, I'm going to ask that you kick us off.
Okay, so I'm a diver. So I know like my training's definitely a lot different than like swimmers. So starting in March, like when I heard like club was canceled, at first I was kind of relieved because we were having like a lot of practices and meets were coming up, like stressful meets. So I was like, oh, hey, like that's okay. Like it'll be like closed down for like a couple weeks. But then like as time progressed, I was like, oh, wow, like a month went by, 2 months. I was like, oh, I kind of missed the pool. And then I was grateful because I was able to train in Florida with one of my teammates. So over the summer, I got to dive down there for a month or two. And then AAU Nationals did not cancel. So I was able to compete there in August. So then coming into high school season, I did have like training behind my belt instead of going in and being like, oh, I haven't been diving since March. But season was definitely different. I know not even having the locker rooms open was weird. Going through the side door, like remembering to bring like our COVID slip every day, like because I know I forgot a couple times and you weren't like allowed to enter. And like we had a couple new freshmen this year. So showing them like, hey, like this isn't actually like what season looks like. But I'm still like grateful we had meets to like show them like, hey, this is what diving's all about. So I'm hoping obviously next year that they have like the full experience. But yeah, I'm just grateful for like the whole diving team because we went through a lot this season, and we came out like on the other side like really good. And yeah.
So when quarantine like first started and we like heard all about it and NCSAs was canceled, I think like all of us were really upset about it because we really wanted to swim at NCSAs and like throw down some good times there. But then after I think like the first like month or so, I think it really became a good thing for me personally, like mentally and emotionally. I really like reset on my like swimming and like I feel like with that like long break, I just appreciated swimming a lot more. And like on the break, like when we had no swimming at all and we were just doing like workouts on our own, like I didn't mind like working out on my own every once in a while, but like I did like really start to miss it. And I like was like, I'm not gonna miss it. Like I really did not think I was gonna. Like I was like, this will be a nice break and everything. But then I really did start to miss it like towards like March towards May, where we like started to get back when we were like getting back in June or so. So I think it really helped me like mentally to like really appreciate the sport more and like just be able to like come back like even stronger than I like have been before. And like once we started swimming like with like my club and stuff and like we just did like outside practices and like stuff and it wasn't as much as we typically did, like I feel like it was so nice to just be able to like be back and like it just felt like a good like mental like reset, at least like for me personally with like the whole COVID like lockdown.
Yeah, definitely. Tiffany, let's go to you next.
Yeah, so as Megan said, I was really excited to swim at NCSA this past season. Obviously, it got canceled. I was one of the doubters. I was like, oh, there's no way it's going to get canceled. Like, all my friends would tell me, oh, NCSA is definitely getting canceled. I'm like, can you just not say that? Because I was really excited to go fast in March. Obviously, it got canceled. And initially, I was very conflicted because I was excited that we didn't have to go to school. But at the same time, I was like, really wondering like how we were going to go through this quarantine. So when we started doing club workouts at home, I did them like frequently, like whenever we had to, but I started to get very unmotivated. I honestly do not like doing dry at home by myself. I think I'm a very sociable person. So, you know, being locked at home and trying to do workouts on my own was really hard. And then we found out we had a NEQA season and I was super stoked because I was like 90% sure we were not going to. Especially with COVID going on. So once that happened, I was super grateful we were going to have a season. It was hard because of my mentality over the summer to get back to where I was from the past year. But I think being there with my teammates really helped. And, you know, seeing them every day working hard really motivated me to work as hard as I could. And although I did not get the results I wanted to, I'm still really grateful to go through this experience that we did.
Yeah. Elaine, can we get you next?
Yeah, so like everyone else said, I was pretty upset when NCSA got canceled. It was going to be my first one, so I was pretty excited. But like when quarantine started, it was kind of nice to have a break at first and to just like relax because the way our high school season works, we go like all the way through up until November, and then we take like maybe a week off, and then we go all the way through club season towards like the end of March. So it was nice to just kind of have a break for the first time. But yeah, so we did like at-home workouts during quarantine, and they were definitely a little different. And I don't know about everyone else, but I tried to do like running and some different things just to like kind of keep my cardio up. But it was pretty strange. And then early June, we got back in the water, and that was weird at first too, like training the whole summer because like for the first time, I felt like we were training without like a goal in sight because we didn't know if there were going to be champ meets. We didn't even know if we were going to have a high school season. So it was kind of like we were almost like swimming blindly a little bit. Just we knew that we had practices, but like nothing kind of to look to. And then, yeah, once it got confirmed that we had a high school season, I think that we all knew that we were going to have some kind of end meet in sight. We didn't know what it was going to look like, but finally we had something to like direct our attention to and like a focused goal. And I think that all like helped our motivation and just helped us have a good season.
Yeah. Rachel, we go to you next.
Yeah, so like everyone else said, I was really sad about NCSAs, but honestly, I kind of did need a break. I was like kind of sick and like I just needed to recover for a little bit. So that was kind of good, but it was also really long, and I like really missed the pool. And I tried running, but this doesn't work out with me. And I also tried doing dry land, and I'm not that big on dry land either. So like I had a pool in my garage, and like I was like connected to a rope, and so was McKenna. But me and my sister would do that, and then we'd like swim in lakes. But we just really missed swimming. And once club was like opened again, we were all so excited. And then high school got announced, and sorry, my cat. Yeah, we were all just so excited and got like re-motivated once high school season was on again.
Yeah. McKenna, can we try again?
Is it working?
Oh.
Is it not working?
We can kind of hear you.
What about now?
Kind
Maybe
of.
talk really loud.
Like
Yeah.
just like scream.
Yeah.
Project.
Is that working? Yeah.
Talk loud.
Okay. So kind of like all the other girls, like I was obviously super bummed when NCSA's was canceled. But I liked the reset just because I feel like when you swim for so long, it's kind of mentally draining, but it was a really good reset because it got me kind of like re-motivated to do the sport. Like we were out from it for so long that I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to get back in the water. It got me really motivated to start swimming again. And like Rachel said, like I'm not a big dry land person. Like I bought a pool for my garage so I could swim. Like that's how much like I wanted to be in the water. But yeah, I was kind of doubtful if we were gonna have a high school season. So I was really excited when that was announced that it would happen. And selfishly, I really wanted it to happen because I moved for it. So I was like, oh, that's gonna be bad if it doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm really excited that the whole thing worked out. And I know it kind of sucks at the time, but I think it was a good reset for everyone.
I think now that we're kind of seeing the other side of this pandemic, of the shutdown, well, certainly the shutdown, and people start slowly getting back into pools. It seems like people kind of were like, yeah, it was a nice break. It was unexpected. I didn't necessarily like it at first, but now that I'm back in the pool, that break was nice, and it's good to hear that so many people are seeming to benefit from it. Let's get into the high school season itself. You guys really made our headlines with that virtual dual meet just a week or two ago. But you guys expressed a lot of excitement when you just found out about that season. Tell me about what made this season different. What was kind of odd about it, because I'm guessing it was a lot different than previous high school seasons, but also what went well for y'all about this high school season leading up to this final sectional meet. McKenna, let's start with you.
Yeah, of course. So like I said, or wait, no, my mic was muted during that time, but so obviously this season was really different just because I was on a new team, so I can't compare it too much to how it would have been last year. But starting out, it was a little weird just because I'm used to having so many people like in a lane to train with. So you were kind of only training with like a couple people, but it still worked out perfectly. And we got in like a lot of sprint sets, which I'm not really used to. So that was like really nice for just like myself personally. And then, sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Yeah, just what was different for you about this season, and what went well for you about this season?
Well, yeah, I think one part that really went well that I really appreciated was how like close everyone was. We did like a lot of team bonding. And I think that was really good for not only like our mental health, because obviously like it was really hard to be in like these like weird like quarantine, like only having 16 people on the varsity team. So we just tried to get really close that way. And that helped with both our training, because obviously, personally, I just train better when like I know the person, and I think it's good to do that. And it was good for like our mentality to just like want to like race for each other basically. And I think that was probably the biggest thing in my opinion for me that went like really, really well.
Yeah. Who do we have next? Rachel.
Yeah, so I would say there was like a lot of different protocols that we weren't used to, and like a lot of things were taken away from us, like locker rooms and like just like little stuff like that, like invites too, which like kind of got us bummed. But we were all kind of, I feel like, more motivated this year than usual because we just wanted to get in and race. The whole summer, nobody raced at all. So we were just really excited for that. And like McKenna said, we were like really close as a group because there's only 2 per lane, but which is good for like training, I think. We had like more space to do like different sets per like group. But yeah, we just got really close as a group and like did a lot of team bonding.
Nice. Megan, can we go to you next?
Yeah. So like they both said, like there's obviously a lot of like small, like kind of inconvenience, like things that we couldn't have, like, you know, having to go to a lane, no locker rooms and that stuff, and like having to always social distance, like during everything and stuff like that. And I do think it kind of took us a little bit in the beginning to get us going. Like, I don't think we didn't have like the bond right away, and we didn't have the closeness just because I think we were all a little like, there's not an end kind of things. We didn't know like if we were gonna have state or whatever. And like, obviously we all wanted to have state. And like, I think it was just a little hard to like get going in the beginning. But I think like, you know, as like the season went on, we really did get like super close. Like there were so many times where like someone was having a bad day, like you could talk to anybody on the team and they would totally just like change your mood right away. And like, you know, our energy at practice, like we were always like screaming, like yelling at each other, like during sets, like in a good way, obviously. And I think that really like did impact us a lot because I think it was really hard to like picture the end of the season and to have like the girls like all together and just like, you know, like just being supportive of each other. Like even if there was like a dive meet like Friday night, like we would go to the dive meet Friday night to like watch our divers and they would come watch us Saturday. And like, you know, I just think it was just that like bond that really like motivated us and kept us going just because we didn't know like what the end was going to look like.
Yeah, certainly. I can certainly imagine a lot more uncertainty than your normal high school season, and it sounds like you guys dealt with that really well as a team. Elaine, can we go to you next?
Yeah. Something that I would say is just like special about our team is the amount of like energy we have on deck at like practices and meets and just like how close we all are and our teamwork and stuff. So something that was really hard for us was like being able to recreate that, like when we all have to be 6 feet apart. Like how do you cheer all together in a meet when you all have to be spaced out and like wearing masks and stuff, or like have the same energy at practice when like the person closest to you is like way over there and stuff. So it definitely took us a little while to like catch on to that and to kind of like create the energy that we feel like we had other years. And I feel like we had to definitely try a lot harder this year to like create the same team dynamic, but in the end it made us better. We were like better problem solvers for it, and it just made us a closer team.
Nice. That's really great to hear. Tiffany, can we go to you next?
Yeah, so the first thing that was kind of different is that usually on varsity we have 20-ish members, and this year we were limited to 16, obviously for pool space and being COVID safe. So there were a lot of new members on varsity this year. So kind of adding to what everyone said, the team culture was hard to start off with. There was a lot of returning members, like all of us knew each other, but trying to incorporate the new athletes were really hard, especially as Elaine said, being 6 feet apart, you know, having limited team bonding. It was definitely really hard. But I also think people who live in Illinois, like when they think of Neuqua Valley, they think of like, oh, back-to-back defending state champ, but we're really like focused on being a team culture driven team. So I think like, I mean, it's great that we're state champs, obviously, but I think the more important thing here is that our team is so focused on cheering each other up, having high energy, always having our backs. So even at the end of the day, if we don't win a state champ or we don't do well, we're always like cheering for each other. And we know that if we look inward to the team, that anyone who does any like swim or dive will cheer for them no matter what. And I think that's really special about our team.
Jane, you're nodding. Give us your insight.
Yeah, so I know everyone talked about like the protocols and how we had to adjust to that. Like I said earlier, like the COVID slips, like that was a new thing, and standing like 6 feet apart, especially in diving, because when we correct each other, we're always not like hands-on, but kind of like, hey, let me stand close to like show you like what you're supposed to do. And that was really hard, especially with like the new freshmen and like, hey, like telling them what to do. But I know we started off season doing a lot of numbers, and that really helped us get consistent and like prepared us for end of season. And like Megan said, with like the screaming, like I know the swimmers like are all like really like close and like cheer for each other, but on the diving side as well, we try to like create that atmosphere. And I know at meets, like we're the loudest people there, even if there's only like 2 divers there. So I like how we just like create that atmosphere, and how like swim and dive, like we just like unite, and we're just seen as that like really loud, like supportive team. So yeah.
Coach Jason, your insight?
Yeah, I think all these girls articulated exactly what needed to happen in order for the end of the season to happen the way it did. You know, from my end coming in, you know, with a high performing group like this and both circles, the swimming and the diving circle, you know, I just knew the state meet wasn't going to be there. And so how could we get to where we needed to be? And it was just take the time to connect. And they said it took a while to get, you know, to catch fire, but, you know, just taking those moments before practice, you know, eat up 10, 15, maybe even 30 minutes sometimes of just talking to each other, you know, obviously being social distant, but you just give them that time to just bond and connect, taking the time to talk to them at the end of practice, you know, and just weird configurations. And, you know, as far as the deck energy goes, I mean, it really did not get better than us. And we prepped for that for a long time. We knew that the sectional meets and the conference meets were going to be very isolated environments, not many people out there, and how are we going to prepare for it? And we did an invite where I just tried to suck out all the energy in the room and see how they reacted. And they embraced the learning aspect of it. And then they went to work, as somebody mentioned, problem solving on what they were going to do. I mean, our room that we were stationed in for sectionals, it seemed like a party going on in there, just cheering each other on. They got, you know, music going for the next girl up. I mean, this was a team driven or athlete driven team by the end of the season. And that's what I want most.
I'm a little bit jealous just hearing about this. This sounds like a good team to be a part of, and it sounds like more than you know, the physical training, more than the yards you guys put in. Y'all really put in the time and effort to create a team that was cohesive, that was supportive, and it seems like that's what ended up carrying y'all to in part to this virtual championship. So let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to this sectional Illinois high school sectional meet that you all swam just was it yesterday, 2 days ago? It was pretty recently, right?
The virtual meet was Friday. The sectional was Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. So I was totally wrong, but we reported late. That's why I was misled. I apologize. So this happened Saturday. Take me through the sectional meet again. 60 to 90 seconds on maybe a highlight moment. What was your favorite race? What was your favorite, you know, cheering moment or team moment together? And what made this meet special for y'all? Coach Jason, let's start with you.
Oh man, I really wanted to go last to think about this. The best moment was by far jumping in at the end, saying goodbye to all the seniors in the water. Our divers dove that morning and came back for the team celebration at the end. And just knowing just a job well done. I mean, every girl found a way to contribute, a way to put themselves out there and try to inspire the team. And I mean, how do you pick a memorable moment out of just so many? just a collective group, and just the most inspirational moment was probably every time a girl on the deck was just trying to psych each other up, get each other ready to go, because everybody was just silent and kind of taking it as it was. And these girls were going to work in a much different angle on that to get each other. And I think the results of their work kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah. Jane?
Yeah, so for the diving part, we had to be there at like 7 a.m. So me and my other teammate, Peyton, we just obviously were tired. So we were like hyping each other up. And the funniest part was like one dive. So she did a reverse 1.5 and she like put it in for 7s. And I was like, she's never done it that well. And I remember cheering so loud that the judges were like, they gave me this look like, wow, you're so obnoxious. Like, can you be quiet? But, like, the rest of the meet, I stayed like loud. I did not change. And then later on in the day, I got a text from Megan and she's like, come to the pool. We're jumping in. And I picked up Payne. I was like, we gotta go. So I'm so happy to like be a part of that like moment. We were able to like jump in and everything. And I'll definitely like remember that meet. So I miss it already.
Tiffany?
Yeah, so I would have to say my favorite memory of that meet, it was me and Megan's third event. We were doing the 100 back together, and I was in the heat before us. So when they're lining up the swimmers for sectionals, you're in this big gym, and you're in one section, and it's dead silent. No one's talking because everyone's trying to focus, which is understandable, right? So a lot of people have earphones in. We're all silent, like trying to warm ourselves up, slap our arms or whatever. And right before I'm about to go in, I have my earbuds in, so I'm playing music pretty loudly. And I hear Megan behind me scream so loud. I was like, she was so loud. I was like, and you could tell everyone was like irritated. I look and everyone's like staring at me like, what is wrong with you? So as I'm walking out, I'm like, wait, I have to return the favor. I'm not just gonna let her die out like that. So I turn around and scream just as loud as her to hype her up as well. I mean, that really made my day. Like, I know like she always will be there for me. And like, I really appreciated that memory.
Megan, your commentary?
Yeah, definitely like the meet. I was definitely trying to bring a lot of energy on deck. Like if you watch the podcast, the announcers are kind of making fun of me for how loud I was being on deck. And like, I swam with Tiff and McKenna and like some girls from the other teams too. And like, even when they were on the block, like I was like screaming for them. Like I was really loud and like, I just was trying to have fun, like bring up all the energy like possible. Like when I was walking out for all my races, like I wasn't looking at the stands. Like obviously it was a big impact to not have fans and everything and not even have the team on deck. But like when I was behind the blocks, like I wasn't thinking or worrying about like, people watching. Like I knew in the back of my head, like my parents were watching and everything. And like, I wasn't worried. Like I just like when I got on the block, I was like, I'm doing this for my team. Like, it was just like really important. It's going to stick with me that like when you get in the blocks, it's all for the team, no matter the circumstances, like no matter what position we're in, like, your race like impacts everybody else, like no matter what, if it's a bad race, a good race, it impacts other people. And it's so important to like get the other people like ready to go for their race.
Elaine, can we go to you next?
Yeah, so something really special that happened during the meet, we were all like obviously in our own room, so we didn't get to watch any of the swims live, but we all like jumped in the pool at the end. So when we were like standing on the deck before that, we got to see the last heat of 100 breast, which had McKenna and our only freshman, Ruhi, and they both just did amazing. McKenna won the whole event and Ruhi had like such a great swim. So it was so good to just like see a race and to see like the positive outcome. And then we all like got to, jump in the pool together and it was just nice. It was a good way to end it.
Yeah. Rachel, going to you next?
Yeah, so I would definitely say we were the loudest team there and we really didn't care what people thought. If they like thought we were too loud or whatever, like we needed that energy and it obviously worked. But yeah, we had like walkouts, so that helped in like the room, and like we were all like screaming every time someone was on the screen, and every time someone would walk back into the room after their swim. So that like really helped like bring the energy back up. And then like they all said, jumping in at the end was really special because like we usually do that, and that was like the only time we can kind of get close as a team without masks. You're in the pool.
Yeah, I know it's a hard thing to do, but that's cool that there is that moment of of physical team bonding as you guys got to jump in. McKenna?
Yeah, like everyone said, the energy was just really great, and I definitely could not have like gotten through the meet without that energy. And we even made up this like little, who made it up? Was it Megan? Like we had like this thing where we go like this and then we go like that. Yeah. And that was just like a nice little, like, it was kind of like an inside thing. Like no one else, like, other team knew what it was. It was just kind of like a nice little, like, like a little that kind of moment. But yeah, I think like my favorite part of it was probably, like Elaine was talking a little bit about it, but the 100 breasts, just because it was my last event ever as like a high school swimmer. And the fact that I got to swim it with Ruki, which is like the freshman, like that was her first sectional meet and that was my last meet ever. So it was kind of like, I don't know, like it was a nice little full circle moment. And I was just like really surprised by my time. And then I look over at Ruki's time and she dropped like 2 seconds. She got the NCSA cut. And I was just like so proud of both of us. And it was just a really great way to end the meet. And like Elaine said, like after my race, I saw like everyone in like the little like deck holding area and they were all waiting to jump in the pool. And that's something I've never done before. So I was like, oh my God, I get to have like this little moment. But yeah, it was a really nice way to end the meet.
This I feel like we've just read like a fairy tale, right? We went through the hardship, we went through beginning, middle, and end, and now to wrap it up, to hear you guys' accounts of such a hardship and in such a cool way to end it, to kind of put a bow on y'all's high school careers in such a weird time in the world. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your experiences and stories with me. I really appreciate hearing them, and I wish you good luck as a lot of you are seniors and going on to college soon. So thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
You've been listening to the Swim Swam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take Swim Swam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.